So then now I want to tell you about something I did this weekend. We invented a new Magic format this weekend. Adam was stuck at home, and a friend of ours, Thomas, who he might even be in chat. You hear Thomas? Anyway, Thomas came over to play in the MCQ or whatever, the arena competitive event, and he just brought his computer over and hung out with Adam at his house on Saturday. And Marshall was free and I was free, so Adam was like, "Why don't you come over and we'll play some? Let's play some Magic." And we're like, "Well, what do we do with 4?" Because we like to draft. You know, of course you can fall back on sealed, but we're into drafting. And I proposed. I had some Battle Bond packs around, and I was like, "Well, what if we, Battle Bond is designed for 4 teams to draft. What if we just played Battle Bond, but we are our own two-headed giant. We all play our own heads, right? So we just draft Battle Bond and then play both sides of two-headed giant Battle Bond." And that got like resounding no's from Thomas and Adam. Even though the packs were free, like, it was, the other thing is, like, nobody had to provide packs. It was going to come from my stuff. So even free, they didn't want to do it. Marshall was wary, partly because he really values getting reps in with the current set for his coverage. It really helps him to reinforce these card names and stuff. So he wanted to play War, and so did Adam and Thomas. But what I really liked about the Battle Bond idea is that it was totally legit 4-player draft. It was like, hey, this is R&D tested draft format that we could legit do with 4 players. That's a pretty rare thing. But I moved past it. I had to get past it because nobody wanted to play Battle Bond, so that was off the table. But then then the light bulb hit, and we tried this, and it was great. The 4 of us took 6 packs of War each, so each had 6 packs of War, and we did a two-headed giant style draft. So open a pack, take 2 cards out of it, pass the rest. Take 2. So every time you take picks, you're taking 2 from the pack instead of 1. That's the fundamental difference of the 4-player kind of Battle Bond two-headed giant draft experience. So just do that with War, and what you're doing is you're drafting 2 decks. And at the end of the draft, you need to separate them into, make 2 different decks out of them. And then you have your A deck and your B deck. And what we did, and you could do this different ways, but basically we then did it competitive arena style, where we randomized it. So we randomized what our A deck was, played A deck versus A deck. Then we played B deck versus B deck. And then if there was a game 3, we each chose the other person's deck. So you got to choose what your opponent played in the third round if necessary. And what I like about that is that it forces you to not have a weak link. Like, if your second deck is super crappy, it's going to be hard for you to win 3, and so you're kind of forced to pay attention to your worst deck and make sure that it's not too far behind your better deck. And so we played that way. So we played, and the pros are that it totally worked as a 4-player draft experience. It really felt like drafting War. It really felt all the same things that you're skill testing and trying, all pressed all the right buttons for us and made us feel like we were drafting War. The quality of our decks felt like a little better than your average draft deck, but not as good as like the decks you end up in Team Sealed, for example. And the downside, as Aquanow mentioned, I love that idea apart from the number of packs. Yes, you are doing 6 packs per person, but historically what we would do in that spot is play sealed anyway, right? So I like the fact that at the very least, as long as you were going to bust open 6 packs, you can actually do it in draft format. Some other things you could do with this format that have my brain tickled right now. I like the idea of getting 24 different booster packs, and where basically grab bag or chaos draft, but instead of like randomizing the packs, actually have a draft for which of the packs you're going to open in your seat. And one of the things I love about that is that I've done drafting chaos packs before. Like I think basically any chaos draft should, in fact, start by having players draft which packs they open, unless you're bringing your own. If it's bring your own or whatever, but if it's not, have everybody draft the packs. Thank you, Aquanow, for the sub. But what I like about that for this format is that you draft your 6 packs, and it's much higher stakes, because the thing with drafting packs for a normal Chaos draft is that, yeah, you're going to open them and get a shot at the rare, but you only get 1 card out of that pack, and then you're going to pass it anyway. In this draft, you're going to get 2 cards out of every pack you open, and so knowing which packs tend to have, which sets are powerful, which sets have great commons, for example, that's going to make a big difference. Like, I think I would draft War of the Spark pretty highly in terms of boosters I would want to start with in this format, because of the Planeswalker density and because of the density of great removal at common, for example. And the fact that you're going to pick 2 out of the 3 cards, 2 cards out of the pack, makes it even more important to of which packs you're opening. So that's a way you could go with it. In terms of structure of the event, you know, we played A versus A, B versus B, and then a game 3 if necessary. You could do best of 3 A deck match, best of 3 B deck match, and then best of 3 match of your opponent's choice. If you want to get more play value out of the boosters you're cracking, you're going to want to do that. One of the downsides of that, though, is that if one pod has somebody goes 2-0 and the other pod does not, that other pod might have an entire third match that you're best 2 of 3 match that you're waiting to complete as the side that completed first. So it has that drawback, but if you really wanted to get great value out of it, you can. And of course, another way you could do it is round robin of everything against everything. So you could have I will do best of 3 my A deck versus your A deck and versus your B deck. You know, you could have it swap around so that everybody plays every possible combination of best 2 of 3 deck versus deck in the format. There's lots you can do. Anyway, the point is the 4-player drafting feels good. Everybody ends up with 2 good playable draft decks, and then how you structure your tournament after is wide open on what you want to do with 2 people who have 2 decks to work with. And anyway, it was great. We had a lot of fun. Marshall took it down. I lost to him in a narrow game 3, and actually that was interesting because so in our A game, I beat him, but he mulliganed and didn't really get the deck off the ground, and it seemed to be green splashy. And then in game 2, he rolled over me with a nice draw from a black-white deck that had some decent removal. And I was trying to figure out what to do in the 3rd game and what deck to put him on. And I didn't want to just fall in the trap of picking the deck I beat versus the one I didn't beat, but I did think, like, oh man, I have some really important creatures, and his A deck was like base blue-green, which isn't great at permanently dealing with creatures. So I felt like I should make him do that deck because my creatures will be better protected, because I think he was going to, in both decks, I just had creatures that I wanted to have live. And also my second deck, so I had a green white splash everything deck and a red blue really good looking Izzet deck. And as I expected, he did not want to see that Izzet deck. And so he put me on my green deck, and I put him on his, knowing that I had not seen the best stuff, and knowing that he was probably splashing some Insano bombs in that deck. But I was so worried about the removal in the black-white deck that I went ahead and gave him the deck that clearly had some depth to it that I had not seen yet, and that depth came to bear in the 3rd game. He just basically trounced me and found all of the amazing stuff that he was splashing. Tamiyo, although Tamiyo wasn't even a splash, it was just in core colors. Anyway, he had a lot of great stuff, and it came out and beat me about the head and neck, and that ended quickly. And then I beat Adam in the 2nd round, but it was a ton of fun. And we played winner take all, so Marshall just took all the cards, and then he actually sold them to me. I said, I'll give you Card Kingdom buy price on those, and he said okay. And so I gave him Card Kingdom buy price on those, because Card Kingdom has among the best buy prices in the biz. Sometimes somebody beats them on a card, but if you're going to say, Ryan, in the dark, pick somebody to have the best buy price on this card, I'm just going to guess Card Kingdom. So, try it out. If you have a lot of packs sitting around doing nothing, and you frequently have 4 people who like to draft and you can't quite get 8, it totally worked out, and we're totally going to do it again.